every guest that I have on the show, I think of them as a superhero. They've done so much, and every superhero has an origin story. And I'd like to know yours, Bob.
That's a great question. So I grew up in Spokane, Washington. My dad was a World War II veteran. He was a crew chief on a C-47 stationed domestically. He never went overseas, but he was an excellent mechanic with his hands. That was always something that he was great at. So when I was born, he owned a service station, and he was a service writer in a Buick dealership. I say that because I went to a huge public high school full of blue-collar kids, and of the 730 people in my graduating class, there might be 4 lawyers. There weren't a lot of high hopes for where people would go. They would go to college, but not professionally. And I ended up at the University of Washington. I was a major in biology and then in environmental studies, with no idea what I would do after I graduated because there were no jobs. So a very good friend of mine who is now a highly successful plaintiff's lawyer, was a dear friend. He knew he was going to go to law school from age 6. And so I thought, well, I'll go to law school. I'll practice environmental law. Well, I went to law school. I clerked for a judge when I got out, and then I started doing civil trial work. And 4+ decades later, that's my passion.
That's an amazing origin story, from rural Washington and all the way to practicing law via law school. So you mentioned that your friend was a plaintiff's lawyer, and obviously you've built a distinguished career on the defense side. What drew you to the defense side of things, and how do you find that side to be?
That's another great question, and I have handled cases on the plaintiff side occasionally. I just have found a lot of satisfaction in being brought into a relationship that is forced on my clients, because I get hired most typically by them, often by an insurance company, because they've been sued and they have coverage. So all of a sudden I'll be representing a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or an insurance executive, and they didn't go out and select me. It tests that ability to form trust in a relationship that's been forced on someone, and then really nurture that relationship and then execute and keep their confidence in what is a very scary situation. Most of the people I represent have never been sued before. It's their only brush with the legal profession. And so I want them to know that I know what I'm doing, and they don't need to worry. I'll keep them posted. And I've just really enjoyed this side of the practice. And another interesting thing, and maybe it's a bit of the mindset, the lawyers on the defense side of the practice are not braggadocious. A good outcome for us might be paying $10 million instead of $100 million. And so you define your wins a little bit differently, and you're not bragging about your last verdict. So that's what makes the organizations that I'm in so collegial and sharing, is we're not fighting against each other.